Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. I have just sat on Sky Sports and watched Mauricio Pochettino say that the performance was good. As a result of this, history tells me it's time to stand up, make yourself heard, and be counted. I never wanted this channel to be a channel that was doing well, successful as a result of Chelsea not winning football matches. And luckily, for the first 4 years of this channel, the videos have done significantly better when Chelsea are winning. And for that, I'm delighted. I don't want it to be a thing where my pockets get richer and there's more cash in my wallet if Chelsea are getting beat. And as a result of that, I've liked to keep my opinions as realistic, humble, and also relative to the situations as I possibly can, because I understand how energy works on the internet. I understand that if you go on X or Twitter, it's going to be a toxic place because all you've got there is words. And when you're frustrated and you've got 140 characters, it's easy to show everybody just how pissed off you are. On YouTube, it's a bit different because you get to see my eyes. You get to hear the tonality of my voice. You get to see every day what I think. And it's kind of like a moving journey. And unfortunately, this season, I have not dipped in and out of interest in football ever in my life until this season. And it's not because I live in Bali, which is the other side of the world, and I'm not going to Chelsea games and I don't feel that energy inside Stamford Bridge, or I don't get to go and drive up the country for an away day. It's not anything to do with that. It's more the identity of my football club and why Chelsea is my anchor association for my love of football. I love football and I love Chelsea, but I also love football because Chelsea are my club and I have a team to follow. And when I look at Chelsea Football Club, I don't know what I'm looking at anymore. It's like one day you look in the mirror and you're used to George Benson. It's like I look in the mirror now and I see Alfie Gilchrist. I'm kidding. I see someone I've just never seen before. That is what I see when I see Chelsea Football Club. And it's got to a point where I look back on the turning points last season under Graham Potter and I look at certain demeanours of certain players. I look at certain attitudes. I look at certain trends that happen. And last season I was just like, well, we've gone from having Thomas Tuchel who wins us a Champions League. We've got a new ownership. We don't really know what's going to happen here, so we'll trust in it. And then quite quickly I saw that Graham Potter just wasn't the Chelsea guy. He was a yes man. He was someone that the new ownership had bought in to just be able to control and kind of have at the face of everything. And if it doesn't work, it's like, well, he's the process manager and we're in a process, blah, blah, blah. Then they tried to save some face by bringing in Frank Lampard. And it kind of worked for about 3 hours. And then after that, we lost every game, basically. So, yeah, I kind of lost faith in Frank Lampard too for a little while then. But then when he left Chelsea, I was like, you're still my favourite person ever. Bring in Mauricio Pochettino at the beginning of this season. And I'm looking at it in pre-season and I'm like, you know what? Like, I've seen enough of Mauricio Pochettino at Spurs to know that we might be entertained here. We could score a fair few goals here. You're looking at the game against Brighton, Newcastle in pre-season, the Brighton game in particular, where Mudrik's linking up with Jackson, and Nkunku is in there, and then he gets injured against Dortmund. And then from that moment on, Christopher Nkunku being injured against Dortmund, it's all gone very much downhill, because what Mauricio Pochettino did in that pre-season is use Christopher Nkunku as a focal point to the team, look around and be like, right, there's a lot of inexperience here. There's a lot of inexperience there. And then he put together something that got taken away from him immediately. And this is me giving Pochettino a bit of saving grace before I go on to explain to you why I believe he should be sacked right now. Right now, just before you start saying, don't give him credit, we've just lost to Middlesborough. Nope, I'm not. I'm just saying that at the start of pre-season and during pre-season, I could see what he was trying to do. I really felt as though we could be onto something a little bit special. Lo and behold, the 29 years of being a football fan experience didn't teach me anything. Ross Barkley is Zidane in pre-season, but we know that Ross Barkley ain't Zidane. So why am I believing that pre-season was going to be something? The season starts. All of a sudden, great performance against Liverpool, but it's hard not to on a nice warm day in August at Stamford Bridge. New manager bounce, fans are behind everybody. Some of these players making debuts. It's time to give it a good go. There's also the Caicedo, the Lavia, the story, everything. Blah, blah, blah. Chelsea, Liverpool, big game. Get the result. As the season goes on, what we have witnessed from Chelsea is we've got to a semi-final of a Carabao Cup, which we've lost the first leg. I'm going to talk about this whole but we can get them at the bridge thing in a minute. Nah, not today, sir. We ain't going there. But the problem is, as the season has gone on, realistically, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. I don't think we've improved. We've had good results, which on the scale of things at the surface suggests that we're improving. Yes, we've created more chances. Yes, we've conceded less goals in the last 6 games to the previous 19 or whatever it was. But the fact of the matter is, this Chelsea team against Middlesbrough showed me that we're not a team. It showed me that the lows that we thought were low before can actually be bettered if you're chasing a low. I'm not chasing a low. I want Chelsea to be competitive. I want Chelsea to be at that final at Wembley. And when Mauricio Pochettino comes out of that press conference on Sky saying that Chelsea's performance was good and we've lost 1-0 to Middlesbrough, a team that don't even have a full squad. They have 14 injuries. They're mid-table in the Championship. When Pochettino says that we were good, I have lost all faith in him, because what it proves to me is he doesn't have a clue what he's doing, and he's going to be sitting here in press conferences the same way that Graham Potter did and we were hounding for him to go. He's going to sit here in press conferences, look at 81% possession in the second half and forget that actually the only stat in football that matters isn't your XG, isn't how many big chances you create, isn't your possession, it's how many goals you score against your opponent. And so often this season, 5 of the last 6 away games, by the way, Chelsea have conceded less goals than our opponents. We're not even drawing matches anymore. We're losing them. We used to get draws that we'd be pissed off about, that we'd be upset with, but now we lose. The standards have become so low and so poor, and you've got players like Disasi in the 54th minute away at Middlesbrough looking around when there's 6 blue shirts ahead of him thinking, I don't know really, mate. I'm just going to have a little pop shot and pretend I'm Tony Rudiger. You're nothing like Tony Rudiger, mate. Chelsea would kill to have an ounce of the brilliance of Tony Rudiger in our squad right now, let alone in our starting 11. The fact of the matter is, when I watch this Chelsea team and I see Mudryk and Colwill arguing amongst themselves, trying to order each other, and I don't know if it's a language barrier thing, but I've heard Mudryk speak English and I think he knows enough to get it. And I think with Pochettino, the players just don't really know what they're being asked to do. There was also a time at Paris Saint-Germain where Pochettino had Neymar, Messi and Mbappe, and he even made them look a little bit average at times. So I'm just wondering here if the Chelsea board have actually got this all wrong. Maybe my perspective of Pochettino before this, which was can work with young players, is good at getting the best out of young players. All of a sudden, I'm looking at Chelsea's players and I'm thinking, are you even professional footballers? Poch has had 7 months. This isn't pre-season. It's not like it's the first month or 2 where he's in charge at Chelsea. This is 7 months in, or 8 months in, or whatever it may be. And I'm looking at the footballers that are out on the pitch wearing the Chelsea badge, and I'm like, are you even a professional footballer? The effort is abysmal. I don't understand. Even against Preston, it took a half-time team talk for us to wake up and spark into gear. You'd also think that there would be enough that could be said by Mauricio Pochettino in the build-up to this game that would hype the players for a semi-final. And unfortunately, when there's so much money in football, these players are so young, they've grown up in an era where phone is king. They're on social media all the time. They've got big bonuses to look forward to for this game or for that amount of goals or for that Premier League finish. The Carabao Cup doesn't mean anything, which is why I don't recognise my club. Because the Carabao Cup means something to us. The ability to go to Wembley in February to see Chelsea in a one-off game in a final means something to me, means something to you. I might even, if Chelsea do make it to the final, after what I've seen today, I don't even think I'd want to fly back for the final. I do want to fly back for the final. I do. And I live across the other side of the world. It'll cost me a few grand. But I'd love to do it. But when I see stuff like that, I'm like, but what am I actually going to watch? Do I recognise anything about my club? No. I do not recognise anything about what makes me love and associate to Chelsea Football Club. My dad is the reason I support Chelsea. And he messages me every game and he's like, what the bloody hell is this? And words that are significantly worse that will demonetize my video. But I need to pay the bills or I need to potentially book flights to go and watch Chelsea in a Carabao Cup final, so I can't swear. You know what I mean? I think Pochettino has lost the dressing room. I think the players are all looking around, thinking they're flash, but they're not. And they're not listening to the manager because they can listen to the manager when we play awful and then he still thinks that we're good. And I think the players even know that what they're doing right now is rubbish. It's trash. It's garbage. It is complete and utter lunacy to think that there is a way to turn this around when the players are arguing amongst themselves on the field. When Pochettino himself genuinely can come out to the media and say that we were good. Just be honest, mate. If you really are an elite coach, an elite manager, which at this point I don't believe he is, I wanted to give him time. I wanted to be supportive and understand that it's a young team and that methods and practices will be slow to implement because these players are so young. But the fact of the matter is, like, even in a dead season, we are playing against a championship, mid-table championship club in a semi-final, and I don't even think we can win the second leg. I know that a lot can change, and in a week's time, if Chelsea do manage to somehow go through here, if we beat Fulham at the weekend, we beat Borough in that second leg, oh, look, Benson's changed his tune. He wanted Pochettino sacked a week ago. It's just the attitude. It's everything about it, and it is the delusion that just, to me, there's not a single fan of football who could have watched Chelsea tonight and thought we were good. There is not anybody out there who's ever watched more than 8 minutes of a football match in their life, who knows how to spell the word football, who can watch what Chelsea did tonight and say it was good. So to me, I don't want a delusional bloke running my team. I want someone who's got a bit of savvy, who's got the ability to stand up and be like, you know what? This ain't good enough. What does this badge mean? Look at the history of this club and fight. That's what I want. I don't have it right now. So for that reason, I want it to change. Thoughts in the comments down below, please. I wanted to make this video because after the press conference, I was like, I didn't say enough in that 6 things we learned. And I wanted to kind of create the narrative here about why I'm so upset. I don't want to be an agenda-based channel. I do react to things the way that every fan does, but because I talk every day, like, I'm the reactionary one. Is anyone happy after that defeat? If you're a Chelsea fan and you're happy after that defeat, please go and have another look in the mirror and remind yourself what your name is, how to spell it, and who you are. Because that's just, it's just so bad. It's so bad and inexcusable to put in a performance that bad and then come out and say it was good. Like, end the story. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out Shootout, my travel channel, my TikTok, my Instagram. In the description. Come on, you Blues.